Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Music Podcast, where my special guest today is Maggie English from Magdalene Rose. Maggie is the former bassist and vocalist for Gold, Frankincense, and Myrrh, otherwise known as GFM, of course. After Maggie and her sisters decided to put an end to GFM, Maggie decided to continue her hard rocking journey and form another band using her birth name of Magdalene Rose. Magdalene Rose is now the name of the artist and the band that will once again join Chris Jericho and Fozzy on the road for an upcoming tour. Maggie, thank you so much for taking the time.
I was so glad to be here.
It's cool. The Fozzy tour, that's the first time I saw you.
Mhm.
It's a big bill. When I saw you, you had, I think, Crash Karma and Nocturnal Affair.
Yeah.
You guys and Fozzy. Now you got Nocturnal Affair again. Magdalene Rose on the bill. Seventh Day Slumber. You probably like that band a little bit, huh?
I'm a little biased.
Well, there are a lot of congratulations in order for you. First, your master's degree. That is quite a feat on the
Thank you.
road. Get a master's degree, period, for you being as busy as you are with your career
Mhm.
to fit that in, to get that done, and all that work. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you got a little ring on your finger.
I
You
do.
do. Fantastic. You are engaged. Blaze Rojas, of course, the drummer for Seventh Day Slumber.
Mhm.
Yeah, that is cool. You guys get to be on the road together. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's pretty
Yeah, I
cool.
saw somebody comment under like our announcement of it and everything, and they're like, I hope this doesn't mean that you're not doing music anymore. I was like, if anything, this makes it a lot easier.
Right. You may do more music, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. Congratulations for sure on that.
Thank
Coming
you.
coming from a guy that's been in the marriage realm for about 32 years. So it's a wonderful thing. It's awesome. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
we're excited.
That's cool. That's cool. Magdalene Rose, GFM ends, you do Magdalene Rose. It's the first song I hear, Shark Spray. Um,
Mhm.
Pretty heavy duty stuff. Especially lyrically too.
Mhm.
Blaming me because I moved on. Guess I'm the problem now. You have loyalty tattooed on your chest. Um,
Mhm.
it's a big thing for you. And that song deals with that. Are those lyrics particularly, the elephant in the room, of course, is your sisters and the breaking up of GFM. Um,
Mhm.
what's the relationship like with your sisters, especially CJ now? And the lyrics to that song, anything to do with anyone in particular?
Right, yeah. So thankfully me and my sister we got great contacts still.
Good.
You know, we're learning how to do new life. We're learning our new normal. And so some of that comes with unlearning, different behaviors that we had because we were a family, but we also worked together. And now it's like, oh, well, we don't have to work together anymore. So it's like, what do we do now? um, so we're learning to just kind of expand that relationship, and it's been cool to try and learn how to keep in contact when I'm not even in the same state as them now, because they're not really touring. CJ plays for a few bands every once in a while, but she mostly doesn't tour as much anymore either. um so we're having to learn how to do like the FaceTime thing and the texting thing when like that wasn't never like we never did that because we were always in the same room like
Right, right, right.
um so we're learning how to kind of like be long distance friends at the same time as like also sisters and stuff. So it's definitely been a process of learning how to keep up that communication because we never really had to have any obstacles to that. But yeah, we're definitely we still keep in communication and stuff, where we congratulate each other and Lou is streaming a lot on Twitch and stuff, and so anytime I put out a song, she's, can I leak it on my Twitch stream? I was like, I don't know what I'll get in trouble for, but we'll try something. And so she usually tries to do stuff like that. But the song is really just about lots of relationships I've had, just with friendships, with people that I thought, I trusted. This industry can be very cutthroat at times, and it's hard when you realize, I finally realized that I was putting trust in people that hadn't earned it yet. And, it's not safe to trust everybody that you meet and to just open up your heart to everyone. And it's like, okay, yes, you can be kind to these people, you can love on these people, but there is boundaries that come in order to ensure your safety. And that's what's important. And, I think because I had not done that like ever growing up, there was a lot of hurt and a lot of bitterness that I had kind of just buried deep down inside of me. And when we started to write music for this new Magdalene Rose project, it was all about finding my voice. And I wanted to be my most raw and vulnerable self with people, but I wanted to do it in a safe way. And so I'm in my lyrics and in the songs that we're writing, they're very personal things that I've dealt with and that I'm continuing to deal with and overcome and heal from. And I didn't want to be the victim. I didn't want to be the girl that was angry at everybody. And so I've learned that writing is very therapeutic for me, obviously, just from doing it for so many years. And but now we're doing it kind of on an even deeper level. And there's no filters, there's no walls when it comes to the lyrical things, but the kind of execution of those, it's in a safe way, because these are very much deeper things, because with GFM, we would write about personal problems, we would write about stories that our fans had brought us, but there was always kind of that boundary, because we were so young, and it was for our own safety, that you don't share past that, because you're still growing up, you don't even know who you are yet. And now I feel like I'm at a point where it is safe for me mentally to go a little bit deeper, and kind of confront a lot of the things that I had buried. And it's allowing a lot of healing for myself personally, but at the same time, I realize that I have a right to privacy, and I have a right to not overexert myself in ways that I normally would. And it's like, okay, well, you can write about healing from these past hurts and these past relationship issues, friends that have betrayed you, or people that you thought were like your blood, people that you thought you were your family, because in the music industry everybody becomes family very quickly. Right. But you can also learn very quickly that they aren't. That's not how family treats you. And I think just being able to write and get those feelings out and understand, loyalty is so important to me. And it's something that everybody's like, yeah, you be loyal to your people, but sometimes you don't realize how important things are to you until you kind of take a step back and evaluate your situation. And I realized that I was putting my heart out on the line for people that didn't deserve it. And it's not about anyone in particular. It's just about dealing with a lot of the hurt that I had kind of accumulated growing up, just with lots of different other people, and realizing that it's important to move past that, and I don't want to be stuck in that. And that's why there's a line that's in the chorus that's like, I'm over this brokenness, and I don't want to be broken anymore, I don't want to be angry or hurt anymore, and I'm letting it go. And all of the heavy parts, they're cathartic for me. Even playing it on stage now, anything that happens, screaming is cathartic for me. And some people are like, oh, that's a little abrasive. And it's like it's meant to be aggressive. It's meant to be, all of the bad feelings that come with everything that's in a bad situation, that gets it out. And then you can be a much better person after that. But yeah, that's definitely just kind of the main motives behind that song, is just kind of dealing with a lot of that personal hurt, and learning from it and growing from it, and learning how to be strong and independent, and but still be open with people that deserve it and that are able to be trusted with that vulnerability.
Right. That's, and it's just it's very much, I got the same feeling as I did with GFM, that it's so informational and self-help music, really.
Mhm.
You guys are so deep into your mental health and sharing that. And that's always been a really important part of the music in GFM. It was for
Yeah.
me. It was great to see that transferred to what you're doing now with Magdalene Rose.
Mhm.
I think that's so important, especially for younger people who are, trying to discover themselves and
Yeah.
who they are as people. For anybody really, but your music has that, and it's just it's a great source to realize that other people are going through what you're going through, and
Right.
there's a voice there that you can relate with. It's really great. And let me say that you guys are some of the loveliest people I've had a chance to meet, and I'm so glad to hear that you keep in touch, and you're growing and not growing apart.
Mhm.
You're just growing, and that's
Yeah.
you're still a wonderful family. That warms my heart. Something great, really great. Um, you got a new single, "A Bad Residential," uh, and it came from a period of night terrors, I understand.
Mhm.
And that was right after you GFM broke up, and you were starting Magdalene Rose. Um, Tell me how that played into, did it discourage you at all from maybe continuing with Magdalene Rose, or did it enhance that?
Yeah, it was definitely a scary time in my life, and you know, there was a lot of fears from transitioning into, a solo project, and a lot of them, I didn't want to confront head on, because I was like, oh, like I can do this. I'm used to doing music. I know how to do music. It's whatever.
Right.
And but then, when you don't deal with things emotionally, they tend to come out in other avenues, and you know, because I wasn't confronting them when I was awake, they surfaced when I was sleeping. And there was just, and it wasn't just like, oh, I had a bad dream, like, oh, it was a nightmare. Like, these were very graphic images. Like, I would wake up feeling like there was like a weight on my chest, like my heart was being squeezed. I would like be dying several times. People that I loved around me were dying. Like, it was very traumatic imagery, and a lot of it is kind of burned into my brain, um because it's just things that you can't forget, because of how graphic they are. And I've had comments, because of talking about the song, comments of people like, well, is it what you're watching, is it what you're listening? It's like, no, like I don't mess with any of that stuff. I, I can't do scary movies, I can't do any of that. Like, it wasn't anything that I was feeding into my brain or anything. We were so busy. I was doing school, I was touring. I didn't have time for anything other than doing my school and
Sure.
playing shows. And so it wasn't anything that I was internally like putting into my brain and into my thoughts and stuff. And yeah, it was hard to talk about, because I didn't want to burden anybody on the bus. They were already taking a chance on bringing me out, and I was this new artist, and I didn't want them to be like, oh, this girl's crazy, like what's wrong with her? And but it quickly became bigger than something that I could deal with on my own. I ended up not really sleeping for 6 months, and you know had to deal with a lot of sleep deprivation, and I just was always on edge. Felt I was just very paranoid the whole time, and I didn't even want to go back to my bunk. I would be falling asleep up front where everybody was, and but I was too scared to actually go to sleep, so I would much rather like just be falling asleep in the middle of a conversation, because that at least I was with people. And um but being able to talk about it and finally opening up with people about that was part of what brought that healing process, because I had a support system then. And they knew what I was going through. They knew you know why I would act certain ways, and they knew how to at least alleviate some of the stress in order to help me a bit. And they would offer suggestions. They're like, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this when you're sleeping? Have you tried this? And they helped me realize that it was okay to talk about struggling with that. And so I started to be open with some of the fans that were coming, because they would hear the song, or I have a Patreon still, and so sometimes they get to hear parts of it before everyone else hears the songs. And so they were like, well, what is this song about? And so I had talked to somebody, one of the fans, who had become I kept in contact with. And she was like, well, that kind of sounds like PTSD a little bit. You might be harboring things and not really dealing with things, that a lot of like fears that came with that transition. And you came from such a tight knit community, and to just immediately like kind of pulled out of that, and you're on your own. Like, you're not on your own, because you're basically with your second family, but it is so different from where you were. She's like, that's pretty traumatic to have
Yeah.
to figure out on your own.
Yeah.
But she felt like she needed to pray over me, and I was like, go for it, because nothing else has worked. But
It's awesome.
she prayed over me, and that was the first night that I didn't have anything. Like, I slept through the night for the first time in like 6 months. And ever since then, like, I haven't had any problems with it. I really do feel like God works through her to heal me. And I don't know if it was like in a spirit of oppression that was just attacking me, or just kind of trying to fighting for my sanity, basically, because this was such a vulnerable state, and this was such a pivotal time. It's like, okay, well, if Magdalene Rose, if she ends up doing Magdalene Rose, then there's so much opportunity out here. But if we can, basically make her crazy to the point where she's not able to do that, then like, we've won. And so she prayed over that, and prayed that any type of spirit of fear or spirit of oppression, spirit of anything, would just be vanquished away from me. And I really do feel like God used her to heal me.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. And I'm so glad you worked yourself out of that. And there's again, helping people that, you're not the only one that has that, of course. And
Yeah.
that's now, maybe somebody will find their way out of it as well.
Mhm.
Because of you. And that's is a special thing. It really is. On a bad residential, you have Spencer Chamberlain from Underoath. Tell me how that came about. How did Spencer get involved?
Yeah, it's really crazy, because it wasn't this like big thing where they were on tour and I met them and I asked them. It was really just, I was talking with Rockfist Records. They're helping me just with this whole project. And they were like, "Hey, like, what do you want to do with this song?" And I was like, "Well, I really want to have a feature. That would be really cool." And they just asked me, they're like, "Well, who do you want?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "We'll reach out to anybody. Like, we're not afraid." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yes, you gotta
okay."
love that.
And I was like, well, let me just go through my playlists and stuff then. And Underoath was a band that I listened to a lot growing up. And it was they were a pivotal point of like me really liking like the heavy type music. And but they still had like the melodies and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And so I was like, what about Underoath? Would you reach out to them? I feel like maybe they would maybe like it. And they're like, okay. And they literally emailed them.
That's
And
great.
yeah, his manager was like, I think Spencer's gonna really love this. Yeah, we'll do it. And the whole time though, I was just like, he's not gonna do it. Like, I'm not gonna believe it until I literally have this in my hands. And I didn't believe like any of the emails that were going back and forth until I heard him singing my song, and I was like, he actually did it.
Yep.
Oh, I was like, okay, it is happening. I
Man.
didn't really know how to process that, and you know, all of us in who play with Magdalene Rose, Blaze is our drummer, and Weston from 7 Day Slumber is playing guitar for us, and we have Eli who has played for lots of different bands. He just got through doing a show with like Devour the Day and stuff. He does a lot of different stuff. But all of us are around the same age, and so we all kind of had that growing up with Underoath moment. And so we were just sitting there like in a circle, and we just like started laughing because we didn't know what to do. We're like, what is happening right now? We never thought we would ever do anything like this, and it was cool. And then when it came out, we all like called each other. We're like, oh my goodness, just like freaking out and having our little fangirl moment. And it's hard to believe, but it's really cool that it happened.
It's great, and it's great that the label is so behind it and so helpful. Not everybody gets that. So that's pretty special. Really
Yeah,
great. That's cool. That's cool. It's a great feature. It's a great song. It's worked out really well.
yeah.
Uh, Now, those are two songs. You got more songs coming. You are at the studio now, right?
I,
Yeah, tell us what you got in store.
yeah, so we are actually finishing up song number 5 today. We are trying to get an EP out by the end of the fall, just so everyone has something to listen to while we finish an album, because there is an album coming. But and we have,
Awesome.
I think, like 10 songs instrumentally wise done. We just gotta start getting lyrics and getting melodies, and then kind of cutting off the fat that doesn't need to be there, and trimming them down and stuff, and figuring out how we really want them to come across. And this is the very first musical project that is coming out as Magdalene Rose, so we want to make sure it's perfect. And so we're really proud of it. We're excited because it is moving so fast. And when we're sitting there, we're like, oh, like 10 to 12 songs is a lot of songs, but it's like we're already like halfway there with songs that are completed, and the rest of them are halfway done. And it's crazy to see how many songs have just happened so quickly. But yeah, we're really excited. We've been writing a lot, and I didn't know if I would get burnt out, because when we first started this, Shark Spray almost didn't happen because I didn't want to write anything. And they were all the guys are just super supportive of me and taking things at my own pace, and pushing me when I didn't want to do anything, and not pushing me past my limits, but they knew what I was capable of. And they wanted me to go for things even when I was uncomfortable, or even when I was scared. And it really helped me see how strong that I have become. And I'm learning how to be my own individual writer. And that's not something that I knew how to do, because it was always 3 of us going into writing sessions, and now it's just me, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot of pressure.
Well, yeah,
But
I would imagine that's a scary thing, and
yeah,
you need some level of success at least once to get you motivated to do it more, right?
right, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And, it's easy writing with your sisters, and they're like, oh, I don't really like that. You're like, oh yeah, that's fine. But then when you're not related to anybody, and they're like, oh well, I don't know if I like that, you're like, I'm a failure.
Right. What do you mean you don't like it?
Like, you don't know how to write music.
Yeah, the writing process has changed tremendously for you, right?
Yeah.
You're writing everything on your own, and you run it past the guys,
Mhm.
not necessarily writing with them.
Well, it's really cool because I thought that was how it would be, but they've really come along with like alongside me, and they're helping collaborate with ideas, and um because they knew that it was a very big difference. They're like, no person should have that amount of pressure on their shoulders like by themselves, and they're like, no, like we're gonna do this with you. And so all of us go into Weston's home studio and work on instruments, and you know there'll be times when it's super late, so I'll fall asleep in the studio and they'll like keep working on ideas, or um you know somebody is busy, and so I'll go into the studio with the rest of the guys and we'll be working on things. And um it's just really cool that if somebody is unable to make it to a session or is just not capable of inputting at the moment, we're able to pick up the pieces of where they need to be, or we're just like, oh, okay, well, we'll just do something tomorrow then. And it's really cool just how supportive the whole thing is. And me and Blaze have been doing a lot of the melodies and the lyrics together, and he's helping pull out the songwriter in me, and things that I didn't know that I knew how to write. I was like, I don't know how to write a song about this. I don't know how to do this. I don't want to do this. And he's like, well, do it anyway. Like, I don't care if you don't like this. I don't care if you don't want to do this. Like, you're going to do it anyway because you're going to learn how to do this. And if we hate it, then we'll just throw all of it away. But like, at least finish out a song. And then, we just got finished writing a song a couple days ago, and we're like, we don't like it anymore. And so we had to restart it. And, but it doesn't feel like a chore. And, it's just part of the process. And it's funny to see all the guys get frustrated when they get like stumped or like get writer's block. And because it is a different kind of response. I'm used to girls getting angry and be like, oh, it's whatever, and like moving on. But like the guys have like physical reactions. They're like, why can't I do it? They get like frustrated with themselves. And so it keeps it fun in the studio. And it's a different dynamic because I am, the only girl in the process. And so I'm having to learn how guys communicate.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty
but
cool.
it's fun. I have one older brother, but he's like a lot older than me. And so we didn't really have that type of relationship. And so now I have like two older brothers who are like a year or two older than me, and then like Blaze is younger than me, but also like we're engaged. That would be weird if he was my brother. But but I have extra brothers now, and it's really cool.
That's great. That's great. And chemistry is a lot of what it takes, that
Yeah.
kind of thing, support and being able to communicate. It's
Mhm.
great. Now you play bass and sang in GFM. When I see you now, I only see you singing. I haven't seen you with a bass with Magdalene Rose. Do you still play bass? Are you gonna play bass live in those live settings, same as you did before?
So I have my basses, and I still pick them up from time to time. But with Magdalene Rose, we wanted to have a full band behind me, and so I think just with this project, it'll just be me singing and screaming on stage. I'll just be a vocalist, which is
Yeah.
had its own like challenges of getting used to because I'm used to
Yeah,
having an equipment on stage,
right.
and I
You
don't know
can
what to do
hide
with
behind that big thing, right?
yeah, it was my safety blanket, and they just got ripped from me. I don't know how to do this whole lead singer thing, but it's been fun. And Eli, who's playing bass for us now, like he is light years beyond me when it comes to playing bass. I cannot compete with him. It's cool just because he comes from a little bit of a different background. He's a lot more like I just played like metal songs and like rock songs, but he can do like the jazz songs. He can do all the different like bass licks and stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna try around you. I don't want to feel bad about myself.
That's great that you got, an accomplished bass player. It leaves you that freedom, uh,
Yeah.
because it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely been fun learning like I've been expanding my vocal range and learning how to, do different stage presence activity things, whatever they're called, like building
Right.
my stage performance and stuff. And um, it's been cool just learning that. And we're learning how to be a band. And yeah, at first I felt super awkward because I was like, I'm just playing and these people are playing behind me, like I'm just thinking like this is weird. But now we're starting to mesh. We've been on tour the entire year, and you know we're starting to act like a band now and not just people who are performing on stage. And not that we had like any issues with each other, it was just weird, like none of us knew what we were supposed to do. And we're learning that now. And we're starting to learn how to have fun on stage and not like, okay, we have to make sure that nothing goes wrong.
Right,
Like if
right.
something goes wrong, like we all just laugh now. And half the time Weston's laying on the floor for some reason while we're playing, and like someone will go up behind Blaze, or they'll switch basses and guitars and stuff. Like it's become this super chaotic thing, but it's a lot of fun. And it definitely was a learning process. But I think we're all getting to the point where we're starting to figure it out.
Yeah, that's cool. And you say it's fun. That's what it's all about, really.
Yeah.
You have to enjoy what you're doing. Uh,
Mhm.
and keep it fun. And play the instruments, play the music, and play with each other. Have fun, and because as an audience, we love to see that.
Mhm.
We love to see the band enjoying themselves. And that's really what makes a great show. So, uh,
Mhm.
your parents were played a huge role in the GFM machine, if you will. Um, what are your parents involved at all with your career now?
So with Magdalene Rose, I felt like I was being called to take a leap of faith and put myself in a place where I had to just rely on myself, and that was super scary. And
Sure is.
but I told him, I was like, you guys have worked your entire lives. You need to take a vacation. Like, I feel like I'm being called to do this on my own, and like I want you guys to have some rest. You've never stopped working. And so they watch from afar now, and they keep up with it on social media. But they've finally been taking the vacations that they needed to take.
Great,
um,
great.
and just spending some time just with family. And because they're not always traveling with us on tour anymore, they have time to go to the birthday parties, go to all of these things that we always missed out on because we were just gone. And so
Right.
it's been nice to see them able to be semi-normal again.
And it was great, seeing you in that live setting with your parents and GFM. Um, like I say, just you're such lovely people, such a wonderful family, great role models for all of us, not just people your age, but myself. That's I have two kids of my own, and a great marriage, and that's I would model my life after that, because that's a wonderful wonderful family structure that you have. And it's great to see that it's still intact, and you love each other. And that's that's really, it's a life, it's a gift for sure.
Yeah.
um we'll wrap it up. I got one more question for you. When we wrap it up here, your phone rings. Who would you most want on the other end of that line?
um Honestly, anybody from the Magdalene Rose camp, the 7 Day Summer camp that I've been traveling with, they are the ones who like I'd be like, oh, what's up? And I feel like in the past I would have been like, oh, like, it would be so cool to have this lead singer call me or this person call me. And I'm at the point in my life where I've learned to be content with where I'm at. And I feel like I am the happiest I've ever been. And I'm enjoying the people around me. And whatever happens happens. And it would be so cool to work with people that are on a higher caliber than I am. But at the same point, like I'm content with where I'm at too. And I just want to be around people that support and love me and are just want the best for me. And because that'll take you way farther than, you know, finding somebody who is calibers above you and working with you one time, and that might give you a little boost, but in the end, like, where are the people that matter the most to you? And I would much rather have them here with me than being far away.
So smart beyond your years. That is a wonderful, wonderful answer. It's a wonderful thing that you have those people, for sure. Maggie, you are just so special. Big hugs and love to you. I will see you in a couple weeks, at the
Yay!
Forge in Joliet, Illinois. So, yeah, I'm excited. Really excited to see the band, this time around. It's just, I can't wait.
Yeah, we've got big plans for that show. We've got a lot of production ideas and stuff that we got to start practicing. So we'll
Very
see how well we pull it off.
just have fun. That's what I'm telling you. When a band has fun, I've seen bands where, singer wasn't feeling great, or, there was trouble with the sound, or, the ones I remember the most are the bands that don't let it bother them. They just smile through it, and they shrug their shoulders, and hey, and they just have fun with each other. That's because that's fun for us. No matter what it sounds like, really. A live show is about having a good time on a night out, and
Yeah.
so we want you to have a good time too, for sure.
We'll try and keep that in mind, not be nervous.
I'm sure you'll sound incredible. You always do. Maggie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
All right. You got it. Bye bye.
Bye.